So welcome Trauma Rock Stars. I am the most excited, I think, about this episode of all of them because I want to introduce the world to this amazing human being. This is Alli. She is actually my therapist, and she has been so supportive and instrumental with my recovery. And I'm going to start crying because I did my MDMA therapy that she guided me through. And it was just so incredible. And you were so soothing and supportive. I felt so safe with you. And the whole thing about Bionic Bloom, it's just an incredible therapy center. And I want to introduce the world to you and to Bionic Bloom. And I want to I've explained my whole journey. If everybody's watched the first 5 episodes of my whole journey of how I got here, why I picked MDMA, why you guys felt that would be the best therapy for me. And I know you offer lots of other therapy options too that aren't traditional therapy options that some people might be looking for, with myself. So why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the world about you, and we'll just get it going.
Yes. Well, hello. Thank you for that introduction. That was very kind of you. We'll probably both be in tears at some point here because yes, it's been quite a journey with you so far, and I can see where it goes. And I'm literally so proud of you too for doing this, for sharing your story, and you just taken off with it. So it's been really impressive and really cool and inspiring to see. So my name is Alli. I am a psychedelic facilitator, and I'll say integration coach because that's a huge part of it too. And I work at Bionic Bloom, which is in downtown St. Pete. I am so, I don't know, I wake up and I am living the life of my dreams because I had always had an inkling when I was, back in college at age 19, 20. I remember watching documentaries and reading books about psychedelics and their healing capabilities and how they have been used in indigenous cultures for thousands of years. And I was just so fascinated by their potential. But that was back in 2012, 2014, and I was growing up in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. So it just didn't ever feel like a possibility because obviously it's taboo and not quite legal yet. So whenever I found Bionic Bloom, one day I was just searching here in St. Pete and I found Bionic Bloom's website and I literally broke down and was crying because I cannot believe that they are doing this. It's so integrative too, beyond even the psychedelic therapy. It's everything. There's somatics, there's hypnotherapy, there's couples therapy, there's all of the stuff. And I'm a master of, what do they say, jack of all trades, master of none. But right. I'm just a special interest here, there. So I felt not only is Bionic Bloom in my hometown as an option for me to go to, it's also I am now working there, which has been absolutely surreal. And so, it's been so confirming, especially working with someone like you who's experienced just incredible trauma. To see us able to have an impact on you in that way is just so fulfilling and confirms that I am in true alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's funny, when I first found out about MDMA, I told you it was from reading The Tell, which I have to reach out to Amy Griffin because I just need to give her a hug. But it's very taboo. It was scary because I'm not really out trying to do psychedelics or things like that. But when I read about what it can do, and this is just MDMA, this is any psychedelic, how it can open up your mind in a non-scary way, was so intriguing. And I did so much research. And am I correct to say that it was legal up until 1984? Isn't that correct?
I don't know the exact year, but yes, it was created and there was it was legal. And then I think it got the reputation as like a party drug.
The FDA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it went downhill.
Yeah. And so what you gave me was a micro dose of the key ingredient, I guess, that's in ecstasy, correct?
So it's so hard to say. I don't even like who knows what's in the street drug ecstasy. Honestly, I try my hardest to differentiate between the two as much as I can because MDMA is a pure substance. Ecstasy, you don't know what you're getting. There could be MDMA in there. Sometimes there's not even MDMA in there. It's just kind of, fillers and whatever.
Yeah, crap.
Whatever it is. And so I think that's where a lot of the misconceptions come from too, is that it's a drug, it's a party drug, it's used for going to raves and stuff. And I think compartmentalizing MDMA is just like set and setting, right? Like used in this in a clinical way, it's not like always euphoric or like this super ravey experience. It's honestly a lot more subtle than that, I'd say. But yeah, sometimes, I mean, they're kind of the same, but who knows what's in ecstasy?
Which, yeah, exactly. What you're getting that on the street versus guided with a provider in a safe environment like Bionic Bloom is, and a lot of people. So they don't offer it at a lot of places. So when I first started researching this and found out that you guys were up in St. Pete, I was blown away. And I've talked to so many people about this since this whole journey has started. And you wouldn't believe how many people are like, I'm just coming to Florida and I want to go there and get it done there and feel safe where I can speak to it. And then they get a little mini vacay out of it on top of it because they're coming to paradise. And so many places aren't offering it, or they're not sure if they do find it in their area. I think the biggest thing is to have somebody you can trust. I think is for the biggest success. And no matter what, because you offer MDMA, what other types of therapy options?
As far as psychedelics go, we have MDMA, we do psilocybin, which is mushrooms. And then we just started offering ketamine, which is very good for depression, major depression. And I mean, if you go down to BB's Micros downtown, there's a lot of other supplements and adaptogens and all the things, all about functional wellness.
When I first called you guys and I first started having the conversation, I had to fill out tons of patient information so it can be reviewed to determine what would be best. Now, I went in wanting with MDMA in mind, not knowing if that was what was going to be most effective. So how do you, that's my story. So somebody else's story, or they're struggling, or they just want to get to the next level. How do you decide what therapies are right for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say Dr. Fisher is probably better apt to answer this if she comes on the podcast. But I can kind of touch on it. I'm assuming in your form you had probably filled out like your experience when your accident. And
I put everything.
Yeah. So MDMA is very, very good for trauma. And honestly, I think I've heard a few sources say that they're trying to get away from calling it a psychedelic, because quite honestly, it's not the same as mushrooms or a dissociative where you experience visuals and kind of that loss of ego, because you're still in your body and your ego, and you don't have that dissolution of identity with MDMA. And so I think that's really, really great for those who are looking for trauma and looking to process. It's been huge with vets with PTSD.
Yes.
Because you're still present. You're able to look at the traumas, but with a different lens. It lowers the activity in our amygdala, our fear and our threat center. And so that it's not that it minimizes the trauma or makes it go away, but it makes it easier to process, especially with a therapist. I think mushrooms are very good for someone. For me personally, all I can say is I'm stuck. I feel stuck. I can't get to the next level. I feel like there's something blocking me. I don't know what's blocking me. I know that there's more out there, and mushrooms help me like, okay, all right, I see you, universe. I see that there's more. I see that we're all connected. And mushrooms for me are really great for shadow work, for
Is
looking.
that the psilocybin? What's it called?
Yeah, psilocybin.
Psilocybin. Okay.
Yeah, it tends to bring like unconscious stuff to the surface. So
Mm.
where am I harboring shame? Where are my blind spots? What are unconscious like programming that I'm running off of since I was a kid, right? Like what beliefs am I holding on to that no longer serve me? So I think psilocybin and mushrooms are really great for that, for kind of integrating the unconscious parts of us, not necessarily like the traumatic parts.
How is that different than just doing mushrooms, getting them on the street?
It's much
Besides
different.
the obvious that it could,
Yeah.
what's in the street, you're getting on
Yeah.
the street, but
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
guided still.
set and setting is like the biggest role ever, set and setting, right? So like, what's your intention, right? Yeah, we had an intention setting session beforehand because we want to get crystal clear on why are we doing this? What can we anchor into? And so I don't think most people have an intention if they're just taking them at a music festival or taking them recreationally, which can be fun, but you're not going to get as much out of it.
And it's guided, just like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. And also having somebody there to
Mhm.
hold space, because it can be scary. It can be unknown. And that's why I think a lot of folks are afraid to try it, because it's unknown. And so to have somebody there who can resource you, guide you, help you process it in the journey, and then again, like afterwards, help you integrate it. Because I think you've experienced too, like you're still having emotions popping up
Yeah.
2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, however long it's been. And we need support in that process.
Yeah, it's funny because you told me, you said this is just the start. Now there's going to be a little work you're going to have to do after. And you were right, because things you called it an awakening. Now that things have opened up, they don't go away. Once they're open now.
Yeah.
And they don't go away. So we have had intention sessions and breath work sessions together, and you just most recently told me when I felt like things were spiraling, you're like, no, we're going to spiral up. We want to spiral up. We don't want to spiral down. And those things are so important to talk through it, because I'm still, even today, getting new emotions coming out. And then explain a little bit about ketamine, because I think you're hearing so much about that. Like all these random people are just talking about ketamine all of a sudden. And I don't think a lot of people, including myself, really know or understand what that is.
Yeah. And I'm not an expert in it either. I'll be honest with you. It's new. We just got it a few months ago at Bionic Bloom. I've never done it personally, but it's a dissociative. And so it is one of those, you can either take it with like an IV or I think a shot. And I think that sense of like unity and almost like transcending your ego and feeling the larger whole, or feeling more connected to the universe or whatever it would be. And it's been proven, there is a lot of good evidence for major depression, really like are feeling stuck and like other modalities aren't working. And I guess if Dr. Fisher comes on the show, she'll be able to hear more about ketamine. But mushrooms and MDMA are the two ones that I feel very confident speaking on because of my experience with it.
Do you find your patients that you see, that have you ever, like, say their first time they do, I've only done MDMA once, so somebody else comes in, people struggle to get the information they need when they're doing MDMA or mushrooms, like if they don't really open themselves up?
That's a good question. I've had one or two folks that like you can kind of tell when you may be resisting it physiologically. And also, like, I think I always am just a firm believer of whatever you get in that session was meant for you. It always turns out the way it was supposed to turn out. So if you didn't have this big, crazy experience, you weren't meant to.
Right.
Not everything is so profound, and it really depends on the dosage too. Again, like I've had very gentle experiences where it was just like, oh, it opened my heart and I feel a lot of self-compassion, but I didn't really have any other like downloads or whatever you want to call it, right? So it is like you have to be open to receive it. yeah, if you try to fight it, you may not get the benefits of it. But then also, if it's a first session, we always go low and slow first. We're not going to blast the door open, and because re-traumatization is always maybe a question mark, right? We don't want to bring all this to the surface and or yeah, just like go too hard too fast. We're all about titration and going low and slow.
I think I had done, and this is to anybody who's considering this route, I highly encourage it, but everybody's different. But I did so much research before I even found you guys. I had just really gone down a rabbit hole, and I did so much research. So I wanted to be really sure going in. And the day of, I don't know if you remember, but we went to the wrong place. We were running late, and I walk in and you're holding the pill for me. And I'm like, I was so panicked and rushed. I just took it. There was no time to stop and think about it. And I was
may have been for the best.
I know, because I couldn't chicken out. And I was more excited than anything going in, just because I so want to be in touch with my mind and my body and everything. So I was more excited, but once I didn't have that opportunity, I took it. And then I remember all of it, but I remember there was a moment about maybe half hour, 45 minutes into it that I kind of started panicking. I don't know if I was psyching myself out. Did you call it the climb or?
I think I called it the come up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And you knew exactly
what
was going on. And you're like, let's just breathe. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was gone within seconds. But I started having a little panic attack, I think, at that point.
Yeah. Well, like this, I mean, I get it every time I do MDMA therapy too, because it physiologically will start to increase your heart rate a bit, right? It kind of amps your system up. And so like that's sending feedback to your brain, like, oh, it's time, it's anxiety. But you're laying there, so you can't really release it. You're just kind of like, oh God. And also it's unknown. So you're like, oh my God, what is happening? And so, yes, breath, I'm such a fan of.
I was like, Alli, are you there?
You're like, this sucks.
It's happening.
And the thing is, you can't go back. You're just like, you're in. But it is, I've explained to you too, it's like a bell curve. It's the come up, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. You're just like kind of, not always, but that's, if you're going to be anxious, it's at that part because the anticipation's building, and then there's the peak experience, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we start to come back and into like our body a little bit more, into the environment.
I think, and I don't know if it was just the dose I had, obviously a low dose, which was fine, it was perfect for me, but I think the best way for me to describe it is for people that are struggling, and it all comes down to self-love, right? And if you really want to give yourself that true self-love and you really want to dig deep, this is a way that you can do it. And I remember I just kept thinking about that, like going through it, because I was with you for almost 4 hours, I think, not to mention running late. And I just remember I kept thinking that, and I think like, and I'm not telling anybody out there what to do, but I can just say from my experience, to dig really deep like that, and if you really wanna, because I think so many people feel lost, or feel like maybe they can't find their purpose, or they don't know what's next. And I think this is an amazing opportunity to do that. And a lot of it just stems from trauma we've been through in our lives, and whether there's no size to trauma, and it's no textbook, so people shouldn't be ashamed if they're, well, I didn't go through, you went through, but it's still trauma.
Right.
Trauma's trauma. And I think with that, and we're always everybody's so aware of it now, and we're talking about it. And I think that would be the best thing I could say to somebody is, if you really want to dig deep and provide that self-love for yourself, at least research it.
Definitely.
And and then call Bionic, because you guys have I think I called 5 times because I kept having questions, and you guys were so patient with me, and Frank even had a bunch of questions. And I think that research is knowledge, and I don't recall ever really reading anybody having a negative experience to it in the research I've done.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was a woman who does MDMA therapy, and she said she served over not saying that there's never been a bad or ineffective case, but she said she's served over 200 clients, and she's never seen, like, she was speaking on, as humans, we have like inner healing intelligence. We all have the ability to heal ourselves. There's something within us, whether it's a soul or whatever. She said that all of her patients, she's never seen that not show up. Like like our will, whatever you want to call it, right? Our drive to improve or heal. So the medicine, especially MDMA, is so great for that. Like you said, the self-compassion aspect of it, like it really helps us too with processing with somebody, because a lot of trauma does stem, it's not always about like the experience itself, it's like our ability to process it or have support. So if we have a trauma and we have no support from that growing up, that's going to get stuck. And so it helps us soften, and so we maybe trust our therapist a little bit more so that we can open up and process, right? Trust ourselves. I was blown away by your ability to forgive yourself in that moment, and to look at yourself, and there was anger that was coming up, like anger towards yourself, and we were able to work through it and release some of that too in the session.
Yeah, we released a lot in that session, and I think there's still a little bit in there. I'm not going to lie. I think that maybe I might try it again one more time just to see what else. I just want to get it all out. But I think it's been, like you said, this past month, I had it done, I think 5 weeks ago or something. I think this past month has been real eye-opening for me. We've talked a lot about that. And it's funny because I still feel like I did it last weekend. It still feels like I just did it, even though I'm going into month 2 now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And which is good, because it's still very, like I said, you don't forget. So once the light switch is on, it's on. And so for people who are considering this, or maybe just intrigued, maybe scared, maybe some people are scared about it, I think the best advice I could give them is just go in with zero intentions. Just go in knowing that you're going in for that self-love and to better your body and your mind. Because I think when we had our intention session, I was like, I don't really know what, like, I don't really know what to expect, because now I do, because I've done that. But I still, even though now I know what the experience, I still don't think I would go in with any very specific intentions, except releasing any extra anxiety and trauma that's in my nervous system out. That would be the biggest reason to go in there. So I think if people just go in with the mindset that I'm going to come out better, I'm going to be so much more informed and know who I am better, is going to be set up for the best success.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I think your biggest question, and I think the question I get the most, is like, people are maybe thinking that trauma is always going to come up. You're always going to reface it. And that's not always the case. You could go in and you can just experience self-love and self-compassion, and that's what you take out of the experience. You're not always going to that be like the sole point of it. Yes, it might be there, but it's not always like that's what you're doing it for. And so we always say, don't have any expectations. Just try to be in the unfolding moment of what it is, and not meaning make in the journey, to just staying open. And I think that's really all we can do, because the medicine, again, it opens the doors. It's up to us to walk through it. The medicine only shows us what's already within us. It's not like it's this magic thing. It's showing us our magic. And so, I mean, I'm never one to force it on anybody or tell anybody like, hey, you got to try this, right? It's a calling. So it's like, if you feel called, and if you have questions, if you're curious, can always contact us at Bionic Bloom, and we're always there to help and to help you see if it's a right fit, because maybe it's not a good fit for you right now. Maybe whatever, it doesn't hurt to just be curious and to ask questions, like you said.
And I think too, so people that have been through trauma already have a lot of shame, because I think in my instance, I didn't tell anybody about being sexually assaulted for however many years that was. And there's always, there's a lot of people that have a lot of shame, or they're embarrassed or whatever. And I didn't tell anybody about, obviously my partner, my boyfriend knew, but I didn't tell anybody that I was pursuing this. I think because I don't know. I don't know why I didn't, because I think I just wanted to go through it first and then share the experience. So if people are curious, don't worry. This is your private time. You don't have to share with the world ever that you're doing this. You're doing this for you, and that's it. I'm just choosing to share it with the world because, like I told you, I feel like we have this little secret to life now, that there's been this clarity that the world needs to know about, and there's help out there for people that haven't been able to find it in other resources. I know people that have spun their wheels with counseling for years and years and years, and they're still in the same place they were when they started. But I do know people that have gone through counseling. It's been very beneficial for them too, but there's the other side of that. And I think you do it for yourself, because I only shared it with Frank because he actually walked in on me the moment that I was reading about it in the book, and I was a basket case when I first read about it, because I didn't even know this existed. So he happened to walk in right at that moment, which it was literally 11 in the morning. He couldn't sleep in. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I just learned about this therapy, and you could have knocked me over." It hit me so hard when I first learned about it. And so I felt like, how have I not known about this all these years? And then that's when I started doing more research. So he was along with me for the whole journey for that. But if people don't feel comfortable for whatever reason, this is private. You don't have to share, but I'm choosing to do it just because I feel like this could help so many people. And with the mushrooms part, that you said is just another level that can help. And you said that helps a lot of people with addictions and stuff as well, right?
It does, yeah. There's a lot of studies with alcoholism, addictive behaviors, because with mushrooms, what it does is it modulates our default mode network, which is kind of just like the patterns that we tend to have every single day. And so it can create new neural pathways so that when we are stuck in compulsive behaviors or addictions, it gives us new opportunities and new ways of being. And of course, we have to integrate that experience as well, but that has a really great way of connecting the regions of the brain and just lighting up our brain so that it's like, okay, we're online.
And is that the same type of thing? Like you remember the whole thing, and once you see that part of the brain, it's on now? Or
I would say in both sessions, right, we're not going to remember every moment of the journey itself, but yes, both of them have a way of reprogramming our brain and continue to have that reprogramming effect for a few weeks after the journey itself. Both of them play on the serotonin receptors in our brain, which is mood. And then with MDMA, it also increases our dopamine, which is like our reward and our motivation.
So with my MDMA, it was they're typically 3-4 hour sessions. Is that the same thing with mushrooms?
Yeah, I would say mushrooms might be a little bit longer, but it's usually like 5 to 6 hours total, and probably more like 3 to 4 really in it. I think I was saying MDMA, it helps with our dopamine, which is like our motivation and our reward. So I think that really helps when we're talking to therapists, we're more open. And then it increases oxytocin too, which is really great for that trust and that rapport with the therapist. And again, that's so helpful with trauma, because so much of the trauma is disconnection from other people, ruptures. And also it was really cool to see you having like release, like a somatic release. And
Yes.
so a huge part of the trauma too, it disconnects us from our body. And so what I've seen with you too, and I've already commented on your language where you were saying like, I think, and then I heard you say a few times now, like, I feel like, and it's like, you get to see your body come online. You get to see you be more in your lived experience rather than thinking about, especially with trauma where you're stuck replaying that over and over and over. It's like, you can take deeper breaths, you can be more grounded, you can be here more and in like thrival and not survival mode.
I think when that release started happening, it didn't. At first, I was like, "What's going on?" And that's fine. That's your once you explain to me that's your nervous system releasing all this that you've been carrying around with you for 40 years, that I was like, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. And I wasn't freaked out anymore. I was like, bring it on.
Yeah, right.
And I remember I kept saying, let's just get it out, get it out.
Yeah.
And it was literally like I went through that release and I felt every minute of it. It wasn't like I was lifting out of my body. It was just I could feel all that negative energy that I had been carrying around for all these years release. And it's funny because when I was talking to you in our session last week and you had said something because I've been ultra sensitive since this to things, ultra aware, especially to energies around me, but ultra sensitive to different things too. And you had said, now it's time to put that force field back around you. So it's like, we got that out, but now we've got to have that force field back up. Cause I don't think I'll ever be fully recovered, but I'm still in the, I guess, beginning stages of recovering because this all just happened 5-6 weeks ago. So when you said that, it was really interesting because I'm trying to release that, but now I'm putting a shield up in front of me, but it makes sense because I need to protect myself right now with things that are going on.
Yes, it's as an empath, as a woman, our superpower is in our sensing abilities. You can feel when something's off, and sometimes we tend to take on other people's energy or their mood, right? Especially if we really care about them. And so it is like, I call it energetic hygiene. You really have to work on protecting yourself in that way too, right? You can't because otherwise then we're just like, we don't have a boundary with ourselves. So like our energy is gold. We have to protect our energy. So it's always kind of a balance between being here, sensing, and then also you do have to separate what's mine and what's yours at some point.
Yeah, it's funny too because I feel I'm at the middle maybe of my recovery where I'm kind of getting ready to go over that hump now. But now that that's happening, I feel, I don't know what it is. Like I wouldn't say I've been depressed because I wouldn't say I would call it depression, but I would say I've had days where I've just been really emotional. But it's not depression emotional, and it's not happy tears either. It's just like all sadness. I guess I wouldn't even know if it was sad. It's just I'm just having a lot more emotional days.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. I think that's why a lot of us don't really live in our bodies, because it's like a felt experience. Like it's a spectrum of emotion. Like to really feel it, to be in our body is to feel like the heaviness of stuff, the sadness of stuff. And that's like, for me, that was too much for me growing up. So I would just disassociate and cut my body off so that I thought it was like life hacking myself. But there is so much beauty in feeling that, right? There's so much beauty in feeling all the spectrum of life, because when you allow yourself to have those sad days, you're also able to feel the really, really happy moments too. Because if you were cut off from all of your feelings, you wouldn't be able to experience all the good that life has to offer too. And that, I mean, when you're just in tune with your body more, you're just gonna process emotions, and it seems like you're doing a really good job of not meaning making it either, right? It's just like, oh, this is a wave of sadness and I'm just gonna let it go and carry on with my day.
Well, and going through trauma too, you just become numb,
Mm-hmm.
and you just really become numb. And I think this really opens up a way for, I think I said in the episode 5, which was the one right after I went through, I think I'm so in touch with my nervous system now, so much so that I'm like, uh-oh. And if I start feeling like if we a heated argument coming on, or I feel like I hate saying this because everybody says they want to feel heard, and it's like people say that, but I feel like if I'm not feeling heard,
Mm-hmm.
I get even more upset now, because I'm ultra aware of it before, where I might have shrugged it off
Right.
before
Yeah.
or walked away from it, and not now. I feel like I'm ultra aware of it now, but I'm also a lot more in tune with asking for what I need,
Yeah. Absolutely. It's your birthright to do that. So,
where I never really knew, I guess, what I needed, and asking for what I need and stuff like that. I was never able to really do that before and put it into words,
mm-hmm.
where now I can, because I have this clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think didn't you guys say that you've had patients come in that have felt stuck and not really knowing what's going on, and they'll go through, whether it's the MDMA or this, is it how do you pronounce it?
You can say
Mushroom, psilocybin, whatever.
psilocybin.
That they would discover things that they never even knew was bothering them, that they had been harboring for years, didn't even realize. So this could really help people with that, because sometimes you don't even know. You just forget, or you block it out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it may not even be in the past. Maybe it's something that I'm doing right now that I'm self-sabotaging myself with. Or if you're not in tune with your emotions, you're probably operating unconsciously. So, right, maybe you're repressing some anxiety, and that's manifesting in your drinking habits, or your binge eating, or your procrastination. And so, yeah, I do think, for me personally speaking, like, mushrooms does bring to light some of those things that we're not aware of. And I always say the only way out is in. And so I think it scares a lot of people for that reason. It's like, what's going to come up? What am I going to see? Because we might see the not so great parts of ourselves, right? That shadow side that we've repressed. But also, it's like, we all have that. We all are animals by nature. We all have this instinctual, whatever you want to call it, unconscious stuff. And integrating it is truly the best thing that we can do for ourselves, because again, if we choose to compartmentalize or repress aspects of ourselves, it's not healthy. We're going to be really unbalanced.
I think that's really interesting, because I don't think people say this, but I think people always wonder how they're perceived,
Yeah.
how what they're doing could affect others,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's what they're saying, body language,
Yep.
or something, or if I hurt somebody, because we all hurt people, unfortunately. We don't want to, but we do. And so it's interesting that can really put you in touch with that, because I would be curious about that, just because I'm that kind of a person. Like, maybe down the road, that would be something, after going through this, that I would pursue deeper, because I do feel I trust you guys. I feel you guys know what you're doing. And I think, does Ed, like, who would not be a candidate for MDMA?
So since it may act on, like, our serotonin systems, I think it would be a contraindication if you're on the larger dose of SSRIs, or I think we always recommend that we taper off of those beforehand, so that so serotonin syndrome isn't an option.
Yep.
And I would just say those who aren't really ready for it too. I just will keep coming back to the calling part of it. And I remember on our first call, you were like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And you were kind of second guessing yourself a little bit. I could see you were just I don't know, like you were a little bit hesitant or a little bit scared or nervous,
Yeah.
whatever it was, but I just kept saying, I can see it, it's on your heart. I don't ask questions. I can
Yeah.
like this is meant for you because I can see, I can just it's on your heart. It's there for a reason. And so if you feel that calling that I'm really curious about this, it feels right for me, like you did where you're sobbing and you're breaking down or
Yeah.
like that's who I think it's really for. And sometimes we're just planting the seeds. Like maybe somebody's watching this and they're not ready for it right now.
Yeah. Which is okay.
Because yeah, and we even talked about this too. Had you have done this 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I can't remember what we said. I don't think you would have been as resourced. I don't because you've been putting in the work with the meditation and the breath work
Right.
and it's good to have a foundation so that you are resourced during the journey and after the journey. You can come back to your journaling, you can come back to your breath. But if you're not, if you're really scattered or you're still working on the foundation, then maybe take some more time on the foundation and then come to it.
Yeah. That's really a really good point because I had already laid out the foundation because I went in full speed. And I know that first conversation we had, I was scared. I was scared walking in that day when we were late because it's the unknown. You don't know. And people are afraid of being re-traumatized and things like that. But it doesn't give you that effect in your brain. Even I think with my experience, even if I had gone back to my accident and remembered a lot of that and what had happened even leading up to the accident, I don't feel like it would have re-traumatized me because I was looking at things. I almost felt like I was almost like my own guardian angel. You know, looking at things. So I don't think if that had come up, it wouldn't have freaked me out because I would have been fine because of what the medicine does. And then I had you guiding me, that's half the battle with guiding me through it. Because I remember I was going all over the place. And you're like, wait a minute, we'll go back to this.
Yeah.
Keep talking about what you're talking about right now. Because I was all over the place. And you wrote in here, and I haven't told you this, but I was saving it for, say hi to Sunny Bunny.
Hello, angel.
Get down, honey. That's the other one sleeping. But you wrote in here, because you took all these notes for me, which I love, but you wrote in here, you are a living miracle. I didn't see that until probably 2 weeks after when I was reading back through this. And I was like, I can't believe that she wrote that in here because I know that the fact that I survived that was nothing short of a miracle, but I never really thought like, well, I'm a miracle. You don't go around, hey, I'm Tracy, I'm a miracle. But I am, God damn it.
You are, we all are. I think about that all the time when we've talked about mirror work, how to do mirror work. And I'm like, my body is literally a miracle. Like, how is this even, it's so cool to when you really just think about the possibility of us being here and how lucky we are. And especially in your case, the fact that you are where you are after what you've been through and the fact that you are just so on your path and in your power too and helping others is, I don't know, it's like a soul curriculum. It's almost like, and we talked about this in your journey too, is like, I should have done this before. That was a common theme. You had some regrets from maybe your behavior in your 20s or your 30s or wasted time, which we all have, right? I wasted so many years, but we have to let go of that narrative and just trust that every experience that we've had up to this point was a part of our soul curriculum. It was very necessary until where we are today. And, you're literally, you're living, breathing proof of what's possible. So it's amazing.
And it makes me appreciate my body because yes, my body went through hell. It didn't kill me though. And it makes me appreciate where now when I go to the gym, I'm not going to the gym to have a beautiful supermodel bikini body. I'm going to the gym because I want to work my body to be healthy.
Yes.
Where I appreciate it more for that reason than I'm not doing it for vain reasons.
Yes.
It's more that self-love, which I didn't see before all this. We're so hard on ourselves physically
Gosh, yeah.
and things. So I think this opens up another area where people can really, really look at themselves in the mirror and just be happy. And that advice you gave me about journaling in the mirror to yourself has been a real game changer, because I'm not a great journaler, and I'm still not journaling every single day, but just about every other day. And that's been that self-talk.
Yeah.
As I'm writing and then looking at myself in the mirror has been so helpful. And then you said to me, our session last week, don't be afraid to write in there. What did you say? Because
don't censor yourself in your journal, because
don't censor yourself.
I always do
doing
too.
because you're afraid of who's gonna read it or whatever. But who cares?
It's your journal,
Get
right?
it out.
Take the time. You have to let it go. It's crazy how we even censor ourselves in our journal, and it's like, no, let it out. I
never thought of it like that. I'm like, why am I censoring what I'm writing here? It doesn't have to be all cute and
no, nobody's gonna read it.
Yeah.
It's your journal, like it's your thoughts. And again, like the most beneficial part of journaling is to get it out. So by censoring ourselves, we're still holding it in. It's still not like we're not really actually releasing that if we're censoring ourselves.
Yes. And the breath work that you told me, which I've been really good about the breath work for years with the meditating, but the circle, can you explain? Because that was super helpful. That's been really helpful for me too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because I find myself doing it all the time. I'm just holding my breath, and then it's like, oh wow, I'm not breathing at all. And guess what I'm doing instead? I am thinking, I'm ruminating. And so being able to bring it down and just like really tune into your body is so helpful in those moments of rumination, or just not being here, being in the past or the present.
Yeah.
The future.
Well, and like you said, when you're doing the breath work, it makes you think, because you're not just holding your breath for 4 seconds and exhaling. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're actually visualizing in and out in that circular motion.
Yeah.
And that's been really, it's taken my breath work to another level.
Oh, I love that. Yay. I love to hear that.
So closing. So for people that are just hearing about this for the first time, they haven't done any research or whatever, Bionic Bloom offers many, many, many different types of therapy. Please go on and research and do your own individual research, just not with Bionic Bloom, but you also offer couples.
Yep.
You do retreats.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. And Dr. Fisher is hosting one. I think it's August 23rd.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Yeah, there's a few spots left. Oh,
I know.
Well, she'll have more. So
yeah,
the couples work is really powerful. I've witnessed one in person couples retreat, and it's just really cool to, with or without the medicine is really great for MDMA is amazing for couples for the same reason of breaking down like the barriers and opening that heart up for compassion to yourself and compassion to your partner, so that you can, there is so many couples there actually communicating their needs for the first time, or speaking on things that have been blocking them, whether they were unconsciously or conscious. And it's just it's the same type of experience where it's just like a compassionate lens, a less emotional, less reactive, and more just like love and compassion.
And you do do you do women's ones as well?
I believe there's a women's retreat coming up. I don't know the exact date of that, but there's women's retreats, couples retreats. And even if someone wants to dip their toe in with just like individual therapy, there's, I don't know, everybody, we're always pretty booked up, but I've heard Sam is amazing at hypnotherapy, which is really great for past experiences and trying to reprogram the subconscious. Cheryl is amazing at that as well. Kaden does art therapy. There's so many different modalities that I think we have something for everybody because I love talk therapy. I think but a lot of the trauma lives in the body. A lot of the trauma lives in the unconscious. So finding ways, different alternatives, I think is really beneficial in even conjunction with talk therapy.
Yeah, I think too, you just said you have something for everybody that you offer there. And if it's not something somebody's ready for, that's okay. You've got so much information on your
Yeah.
website,
Yep.
and so I'll make sure and include all of that, in this
Yeah.
episode so people know how to get a hold of you. And I know your calendar. I have trouble getting into your calendars filled up pretty quick, that's a good thing because
Yeah.
other people, but I'll include that, information because I really want people to be able to get a hold of, this amazing, amazing therapy center, you guys.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful. And if you don't live in the area, make it a little vacay and come visit.
Yeah. And the therapies are virtual too. So we can.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess it would probably, the one last thing would just be if you feel that little soul voice, that little, it's on your heart and you feel called to it, follow it. I don't want to say don't gaslight yourself, but listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, and also try not to listen to the external world, right? This is our process, this is our journey, and whatever feels right to us, follow that. Don't let, like you kind of said, other people may be saying, this is scary. They'll always project fear or something onto you because it's unknown. And so really just try to get that force field up and listen to what sounds true for you.
Yeah. And knowledge is power. So
yeah.
And you've got so much, like I said, information on your website. And
there's podcasts like Spotify. I know like Andrew
Yeah.
Huberman has a scientific approach to it. There's probably other, I don't know if you have any like podcasts that you listen to, but
I found a lot on YouTube. A lot of
that's
research
how
I was doing, and it's the incredible work that's been done with people with PTSD is really unbelievable. There's so many people suffering that don't need to be, and this is an opportunity for them to at least maybe think about another alternative to recover from that. So, well, this was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
You're
so
amazing.
Much. Look at you.
Thank you so much for doing this. And like I said, I want to definitely try and get Dr. Fisher on at some point. Thank you. And you, my friend, are a trauma rock star yourself. So
honorary.
Thanks, so Alli.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye. The content on this podcast revolves around personal life experiences and is meant to serve as a learning tool. I am not a certified therapist or medical expert. This podcast does not offer medical or psychological or professional advice. If you're curious about your mental and physical well-being, feel free to reach out to a licensed healthcare professional for assistance.